people together, share information that's useful for the work that you're doing, and then build, connections and collaboration among all of us. You can see this was the original plan. We we didn't end up doing this, but just so you can see what we have in store. As Hendrik was saying, we wanted to share some examples from you about, hey, what are some really good ideas about how to do good first issues, how to do some of the things. We're still going to try to make sure this information is presented at other times, but just to show you what the original plan was. And if there's something on here that's of particular interest to you, let us know and we'll make sure we find a spot for it. What we are going to do, I think this is the plan for our day we kind of came up with, but again, we'll play it by ear a little bit. I'll share a little bit about how staff can support you. We'll do the breakouts, then we'll have a little bit of a break. We'll come back, we'll do lightning talks. I think if we had talked about some projects, wanted to share what you're doing, if you want to do about 5 minutes about your project, we can come back after the break and do that. And then, Maria, if we want to do the, okay.
He's not sleep deprived, but yes,
okay.
But Samuel is also should be here.
That's great. Okay, so then in the afternoon we'll talk about mentorship. That's one of the things we'll talk about, that it's a great way to support your projects. We'll have a whole conversation about that. And then at the end of the day, we'll have a preview about, hey, what do you still want to make sure that we do tomorrow? The schedule for tomorrow is very flexible. We can spend the end of today talking about how we want to set us up for success tomorrow, and then we'll be done for today. We don't have anything formally planned for the evening. The thought was it would be better to keep it informal on the first day. You can grab some people, go have dinner, go have a drink. You're like, hey, you gave a lightning talk. I really want to learn more. Let's just kind of self-organize around the groups that are of interest tonight. We do have a more formal event after the activities tomorrow. There's a happy hour, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But tonight, no formal plans after the event. And with that, I just wanted to, again, spend maybe 5 minutes talking about how staff can support you. I think you may know some of this already, but just in case you don't, just wanted to talk about how we are here. Again, we've met Jessica, Rye, Sean, me. We're all here to make sure that what you're trying to do with your project, with your lab, that it's successful, and there's a number of things we can do to help. So if there's anything that I share that's of interest, come talk to us, or if there's something that we didn't share that's of interest, talk to us, and we're happy to be flexible and work with you. So just to go through quickly some of the things that we can help with, and I know some of you here have already taken advantage of some of these things, but just to share, if you ever want to raise the profile of what you're doing, get your information about your project, your lab out to a larger audience. It's very easy for us to help set up a virtual meetup. You can talk about what you're doing, do a demo of what you're doing. We can get that out to a very large audience. We have over 100,000 people in our global meetup community. So again, if you want more eyes, more attention on what you're doing, that's an easy way that we could help you do that. So come talk to us if you want to do that. We can also do workshops. These are very similar to meetups, just longer format, deeper dives. We can do 2-3 hour long online session. Again, get that in front of a large audience. The goal of our workshops would be give information about how to use your project, contribute to your project to people. Meetups tend to be a little bit more high level. There's only so much you can go into in 30, 45 minutes or so. So, we want to give you the opportunity to have a deeper dive if that's of use for what you're doing. Some projects have done that. I think it's also a really great resource after the event. You could have this video that shows people how to use your project, and then that could be something that's useful for people over the next 6 months or years. Obviously, technology changes. The workshop will probably get out of date at some point, but if you want to do that, again, come talk to us. We have a blog that gets a lot of attention. If you ever want to write about what you're doing, hey, we have this new release, hey, we have this new feature, whatever it may be, come talk to us. We can get that blog out in front of, again, a pretty large audience. We have a developer newsletter that goes out every week. We have over 3,000 people on that currently. So again, if you ever have a news item that you want to put in that, easy enough, just send it to one of us. We'll put it in the newsletter. Again, I think most of you here are taking advantage of this, but we have a platform to host calls for your projects or labs. Again, this is optional. We encourage you to do this. This is a great way for people to join the conversation, take part in a conversation about what you're doing. If you already have a project call and you want to add a new one, let us know. Or if you don't have a project call and you want to add one, let us know. Easy enough for us to set that up. We use Discord now for discussions. Easy for us to set up channels for you to use there. Again, most of you probably already are using that, but if you need additional channels or want to start that, let us know. We had talked about good first issues. We're going to have a whole session on this tomorrow, so I won't say much more about this, but again, this is something that we can help you with. The same with mentorships. Every year, the Linux Foundation hosts a mentorship program. It's actually a paid mentorship program. The Linux Foundation provides funding to the mentees that take part in this. So if you have something that you would like to work with a mentee on, the time period for that is opening in February. There's going to be a call for mentorship proposals really soon. So start thinking about what you might want to do as part of that. There'll be a process to submit that. The Technical Advisory Council will then evaluate the different proposals that come in. They'll accept a given number of those. And then once your project proposal is accepted, we'll then help you match with a mentee. You'll have an opportunity to have people apply to your project. You can interview them, pick the person who's the right fit for you. And then again, once that project is started, the Linux Foundation will provide a stipend to the mentee to help support them with the work that they would do for you. So be aware that this is coming up. It's a great program. If you haven't taken a part in this in the past, you have an opportunity coming up within the next few weeks to really take advantage of that. We also have a project lifecycle. This is something that if you're not already aware, we can help you with. Basically, we have 3 stages that a project could go through, from kind of experimental and getting started to more mature, and then the most mature, so labs, incubating project, graduated project. If that's something, again, that you're interested in, there's a whole process we can talk you through. On the staff side, the main difference is we give more support and give more promotion to the projects as they grow and mature. So if you want to go to that graduated stage, if that's something that's of interest to you, we can talk about how do you get there and then what's available for you on the staff side. When we, how we support different projects at different levels. Happy to talk to you about that. Case studies being one of those ways about how we support projects, especially those most mature projects. We really get a lot of questions from people about, hey, I understand you're doing this, or I understand you're doing that, but how is it being used in the real world? So especially for those more mature projects that are being deployed in solutions around the world, we don't know that information really necessarily unless you tell us, right? You're the ones most involved in the project. But if you have an example of a real world use case for what you're doing, come talk to us. We'll bring in, again, we'll handle all the resources for this. We bring in a professional technical writer to work with you, understand what it is that you're doing, what's being deployed. We'll then take that and publish that. And we get asked every time Daniela or Karen or the other people on the Linux Foundation staff are on a call, they almost always get asked this question, okay, but how is it being used? How's Hyro being used? How's Fabric being used in production? And we share these case studies all the time. So this is a great way that we can support you. And if you have questions for us about what other projects are doing, we have a pretty good sense of what other projects are doing. Come talk to us. Obviously that's what the next 2 days will be about, learning from other projects. But just if you have a question in general throughout the year, come talk to us, and we're happy to share what we understand is going on in other projects. I'm going to skip over the map, your ecosystem stuff. If we have time tomorrow, we're going to talk about this. But I think the idea here being that Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust is large. There's almost 20 projects, dozens and dozens of labs. It can be hard to get a handle on what's going on. So I think it would be an interesting, if we have time tomorrow, an interesting exercise to talk about how do we map connections between different efforts, like interoperability. There's multiple interoperability efforts, or identity. We mentioned identity earlier. A lot going on in identity. How do we bring these different people together from these different places and see if there's something that we could do together? And then lastly, infrastructure. We have all sorts of tooling that you might need for your project. Again, I think you're taking advantage of this already, but if there are additional infrastructure needs that you have, come talk to us, in particular Rye, and we can help figure out what it is that you're missing, what we can add to really bring you that support you're looking for. And with that, I went through that very quickly, but again, staff is here to help. Just to let you know, if you need anything, have any questions, grab us today, tomorrow, or find us on email or Discord after the event. And with that, I'm going to hand it to Andrew.